We're going to bring the house lights up a little bit. And try something I haven't done before. And with the exception of tomorrow night, we'll never do again. But, what happens to you? No, it is? All right. There's going to be a gentleman with a microphone. And if you have any questions about how I do my job, I'll be glad to try and answer them for you. The only two questions I don't answer are what comes first, the music or the lyrics? And how do I get my hair looking like it? Generally those, give me regular 6-string, I guess. Sit with that. So, anybody want to take a shot?
Yeah, right here.
All right. You got? What about writer's block? Oh, how do I deal with it? Well, I don't know. I don't really. I'm trying to think. I haven't had it in a while. I've been writing pretty freely in the past, but I've had it in the past. Born in the USA was ugly. I was sitting there. I had Born in the USA, and I had My Hometown. I said, man, those are great, man. Those are good, them songs. And I think I had Glory Days and a bunch of other ones, but I just couldn't get any more. And I'd done Nebraska, and I felt Nebraska was some of my best writing. So I wanted to make a rock record that sort of took from there and went forward, and I just felt like I couldn't do it. And I worked so hard. I hacked stuff out like crazy. I had no life at the time, so that helped, or maybe that probably hindered. I had no life. That was when I started to notice it. When I was about 34, and I said, "Gee, if I'm not writing, I'm sucking a big one now." because man, I got no life, so I got nothing else to do. So that was really that. Maybe that had something to do with it. That was probably the last time when it was. I think that when I wasn't actually writing, I felt like it was time to leave the planet because I just couldn't do it. I wasn't doing anything else, but that was I don't know. You just keep rolling and you come out. Eventually, something comes around, and sometimes it, in the end, may feel a little forced to you, and sometimes you just got to quit and get out there and I have other opinions around me that help. And on that record, they were very helpful. Steve was very helpful. John was very helpful. They said, well, this stuff that we had was pretty good. We cut half of the record, I think, before I cut Nebraska. And we ended up going back to a lot of that stuff. Darlington County, I'm on Fire. Half of the Glory Days, I think, Born in the USA. Most of those songs were all cut before Nebraska, and they ended up being stuff we ended up going back and putting back on. So, But I don't have any I don't have any secret of dealing with it. I just kind of sit and sometimes you just gotta wait. It's gonna happen. So all right,
Bruce.
All right,
Excuse me.
I hear somebody. Go ahead.
Yes, I got the microphone.
Power to you, brother.
You're one of my heroes and one of millions of people's heroes in America.
Thank you very much.
I just heard today that for the upcoming CBS special that you have a corporate sponsor, I think for the first time.
Well, I don't have a corporate sponsor, they show commercials on television as they play them on the radio, So I believe there's a couple of breaks for commercials, but they're not sponsoring me.
I misunderstood, but what I'd like to ask you is...
I wouldn't have waited so long if I was going to go that way. Hey, back in 1985, if I was going here. I would have been selling some Oreos, man. Blue jeans, I got plenty of all that. So, no, it's just TV commercials. I don't know. I guess the ones I played tonight I like a lot, but, I guess Darkness was always one of my favorites. I still
Bruce?
in case of that a lot. Yes?
Bruce,
my conscience?
There's a new book out called Bruce Springsteen and Bob Dylan, The American Song. Could you comment on that, and what kind of influence has he had on you?
Well, the book, I don't know. Somebody actually did send me a copy of it, so I kind of liked it because my picture was on the front of the bottle. So that's sort of, but I don't know much more about the book besides that. And the fella did send me a copy, but I tend to not read about myself due to the fact that living with myself is enough, Or unless somebody says, "Man, this is really great, you should read it." But what can I say? He was the guy that really put a lot of things together that a lot of us guys afterwards followed. Also, he's carried on as an artist, as he's gotten older. He's made some terrific records as of late. The last record I thought was great, and I loved the one before that. So, he's just continually creative, and that's inspirational, I think. So I always got, he was always like the fountain for me. I still get a lot of inspiration out of throwing his stuff on, and just amazed at the breadth of his work and the stuff he's done. So,
Bruce,
yeah.
Bruce, back here. Sorry about that.
Okay,
Just
freaking me out.
don't mean to freak out.
All right, go ahead.
Just curious, how fresh was the hurt when you wrote "Back in Your Arms"?
I don't know. That one, I just wrote it like a soul song. The hurt wasn't very fresh. It was just something that I think I wrote it. I wrote it for the record after Lucky Town, which I didn't put out. I have it sitting around. It was written for that record, which was kind of another record about relationships. And it ended up, when we were looking for a song for the Greatest Hits record, we put it on. It was a nice. 4 times. In my dream, my love was lost. So just and if our love can fade, I can't reach you inside of me. Prayed it wouldn't be too late. Now I'm standing on this empty road where nothing moves but the wind. And darling, something, something, something. Back in your arms. So it was kind of a soul exercise for me. You know, I like to sing like that. I do as best as I can with it. But it didn't come out of any place, you know, particularly hurtful. At least not immediately. And I just feel like I can use that.
Who was the inspiration for Spanish Johnny?
Who was the inspiration for Spanish Johnny? I don't know. I was in New York a lot at the time, and it was really. I think I was simply in the city a lot in those early days. I went up because they were paying me money to play at Max's Kansas City, and I was just in the city a lot, and I kind of enjoyed writing about New York a little bit more. On my first few records, just quite a bit of New York music via the New Jersey sensibility, you know. And so it was just a name, it was just something. I think that song always came down to good night, it's all right, Jane. Meet me tomorrow night on Lover's Lane. You may find it was all about that when that chorus came around, and it was just melodically a nice piece of music, and we made a nice record.
Bruce?
Yeah.
Yeah, hey. My name is Doug, and I just
That's
want
terrific.
to...
That was my father's name.
And my brother's name is Bruce.
Woo!
But, number one, I wanted to say that I think you're maybe among the most underappreciated lead guitar players there
Yeah,
is.
I play pretty well. That used to be my thing. You know, I started out as a guitar player. They wouldn't let me sing in my first band. They used to tease me terribly about my voice, and so I started out playing lead guitar. And in my area, until I was well into my 20s, that was kind of my rep. You know, I was the guitar slinger in central New Jersey. And as a matter of fact, when my first record came out and it had no electric guitar on it, people were really pissed off. You know? I remember going around, hey man, what happened? What happened? Where's the guitar? That's your thing, you know. And you know, I didn't have an answer. But at the time, I was lucky that I got the band on because they wanted me to make an acoustic record, which probably would have been a good idea. But we kind of compromised, and it was acoustic guitar with rhythm section. And but thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed my riffing.
I also wanted to ask you, I noticed you're not using the Esquire Telly as much as you have been before. And also, I think I gave this to you upstairs. I think you dropped it. I was wondering if I could give this to you again. This is really important to me. It's my CD.
I'm a great one. All right.
Thank you very much.
But as far as, all right, you're not going to sue me, are you? I'll be sued by this gentleman in the years to come. The guitar was just something where I've got a series of other guitars and a variety of different tunings, but that's still I played it for 25 years, bought it for $185, and it's a piece of my body at this point when I put it on. You know, it's not a guitar. It doesn't need any applause, it's just a good guitar. All right, go ahead. So whoever's got the mic, give it a shot. All right, I'll get to you next. And
Over here, Bruce.
well, I can't see you, but I believe
Bruce.
Okay.
How do you pick your set list every night, and are there any songs that maybe you've kind of put away and said, I'm not going to play anymore?
There tends to be some, you know. I'll go on tours where on this particular tour we're not playing this group of songs. Usually it's just to give them a rest, you know, or I try to balance between the old work and the new work because when I put the band back together, the one thing I didn't really want to get into, I didn't want it to be sort of a nostalgia fest, you know. I think people come and you have a shared history with people that's very, very important and that I enjoy, and I want it to feel like that. You know, that you've taken a long trip with somebody and you know somebody really well. But I wanted it to continue to be based very much in the present, and the band's done a great job of setting me there every night. So sometimes I will put away certain songs if I feel it's playing too much to the crowd on a given night or so, and I'll go for something else. But the set list just comes up, like this one just kind of, I only had a few days to put it together, and there's some things I like to play, but like Darkness on the Edge of Town, I just like to play it, it feels central to me, so I wanted to make sure I didn't fuck up the first thing that I played. So I picked that one first, because, well, I know how to play that one. Then Adam Raised a Cain, that's in the same tuning, and so that worked. And then, My Father's House, well, Adam Raised a Cain, that's, fathers and sons, and so I go, well, I'll take it in a little bit deeper, stick the knife in a little bit deeper and go to my father's house. Then I'll try something that's up because I want everybody to leave and kill themselves. So I go to bus stop or growing up, and then Freehold because it's kind of funny and I don't know, it's a fun song to perform. Thunder Road because Born to Run, I wanted to play something from Born to Run because central record for me, and that song is real big. It still encompasses so much of my work that even when I play it, it's just big. It just takes in a lot. And Nebraska because it sort of reached that was a record that I feel like I hit a different spot in my writing, and that particular song was central to that record, and central to a certain type of character that I learned to write well about, that really came from some place inside me that I felt very, very connected to. My family was a combination of Italians. That was my mother and her sisters, and they were all hysterical kind of joy freaks. No matter what happened, they were always unbelievably optimistic, and their ability to communicate happiness continues to this day. I would come home from my aunt's house deaf from the screaming over nothing, just the shrieking that went on. And then my dad was Irish, and that was the other thing. That was the police coming to the house parties and, and that sort of thing. And so I try to cover them both a little bit. And so was Nebraska River because it was central. So I'm beginning to write narratively. USA because of what it's about, and Souls and The Wall. They were all connected to just the theme of war and surviving. With Bobby Jean, Friendship, Hometown, Sense of Place, Brilliant Disguise, Little Things Fall Behind. That was just, men and women, and sex and love, and Ghost, because that was where I turned back outside again and started to write more about what I was seeing and returned to kind of a narrative voice. So then Rising because it was new and takes the theme of resurrection once again, brings it up. Promised Land because I like to play it. Good song for Bob. So that's a brief. So it kind of one thing leads to the next. You just follow it down. All right. Who's next? Yeah.
I was thinking in the street. You talked about that, and then Paradise.
Paradise. I haven't played that one because it's hard to play live. I could play it, but it's hard to play in a big place because it needs so much stillness. Because it's one of those songs. Go ahead. Some of the songs. I don't think I know it. Racing in the Street was based on a kid I knew in Asbury Park who I used to see down in the bar all the time, and so it was sort of, the theme of the thing was set, it was just this young kid that I knew with the car, and it started with him, and then it always ends up with you somehow, it always ends up, I wanted to write about the classic rock images, cars, and things that I love, like Chuck Berry and the Beach Boys, but I wanted to fill them with sort of the dread that was a part of everybody's life post Vietnam, and that was once again the redemption. The whole thing about that song leads up to the instrumental. The instrumental at the end of that record tells the rest of the story. One of my favorite songs. I like that one a lot. Good? What's the promise about? I don't know. It must have been about sex. I can't say. I guess it was about. That was sort of after Born to Run. I wrote that for Darkness, I think, and I was reflecting on sort of the flip side of Thunder Road, I think. I was reflecting on the responsibilities and that I thought came with my fortune at that time, and how it sort of fit into my life, and that's generally what I remember it being about in some fashion. Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
Right here.
All right. Will I sign that? No, not right now. Go ahead. I'll sign it later, though. All right. Go ahead, River.
First of all, I want to say good luck at the Grammys. How does it feel having the best fans in the world?
Having the best fans in the world. I gotta give fans. I give you credit because, one night I asked you to scream your heads off, and the next night everybody shuts up, everybody speaks up, kill you. And people respond very well in both circumstances. I was very happy on the Tom Joad tour where I went out, and the show just needed so much quiet, and to be able after so many years of playing hard and loud, to be able to get that from the audience as I did, only had to throw a few people out, and as I generally got was very, very satisfying, and it was nice, well done. Okay.
First, this is a great gift for Double Take, so thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah.
I wanted to know, how did you come to the decision to do this fundraiser, and what else do you want to achieve in your life that you haven't done yet?
Well, this was, I knew Bob, and just an admirer of Bob and his work and his writing, and I got the magazine very regularly. It was just a terrific magazine, very unusual, tremendous, just the photography. I'm an amateur, clicking away myself, and it was just something that there's just nothing out there like it, and so, and I like Bob. I admire Bob's work tremendously, so it's a pleasure to be here tonight. Across the board, yes.
It was sung in almost like a whisper.
Yeah.
Something that I don't think you've ever done before. It was a little snippet of that end. Is the character, which side of the border is he on? As he's crossed over the United States and he's talking back to his honey, or has he come back to Mexico, let's say?
I didn't actually think about all that. Those are the kinds of questions the songwriter doesn't have to answer, because the song's good, but the song is sort of, how can I put it? It was, I guess it was religious in nature, in the sense that it was about going someplace where love exists and redemption exists, and a place where you can live and just feel good, and where you can have a chance of making something and building something for yourself. It was really about somebody seeking those things, coming out of a world of hurt and seeking those things. I think that when you write those songs, ultimately you set them in a variety of different settings, and that's part of what the songs are about. But they would not ring true unless you knew exactly what you were singing about, unless you could feel that thing. Man, I want to go across that border. I want to find those things I haven't found and touch those things that I haven't got a hold of yet. Some place that you believe exists somewhere, somehow. So it was both about the things that were going on along the border in California, and just about a belief in that journey, I suppose. I'll give you a little bit of it. You go to the top of this sucker. Hey, whisper, how do I sing? Tonight my bag is packed. Tomorrow I'll on this train. I'll lead me across the border. Tomorrow my loving eye. Sleep neath northern skies. Somewhere across the border. will leave behind my name. Pain, sadness we found here. We'll drink from the bravos and muddy waters, till the sky grows gray and white. We'll meet on the other side, and across the border. For you I'll build a house high upon a grassy hill, somewhere across the border, where pain and memory have been still. They cross the border, sweet blossoms fill the air, pastures of gold and green roll down into cool, clear waters, and in your arms, 'neath open skies, I'll kiss the sorrow from your eyes. They cross the border. Tonight we'll sing a song. I'll dream of you, my love, and tomorrow my heart will be strong. May the saints' blessings and grace carry me safely into your arms. They cross the border. For what I wait, without hope in our hearts, that someday we'll drink from God's blessed waters, eat the fruit from the vine. I know love and fortune will be mine somewhere across the border. That's my little prayer. Shout it out, kid.
I'm a documentary filmmaker and making a film about manhood in America.
Right.
And given that a lot of your songs and a lot of your characters, I think, wrestle with this question.
Oh, yeah.
What does it mean to be a man? I'm just curious if you can talk
I don't know, I think it's something I think there was so much confusion about it when I was young, You're up in the 50s generation, it was real rigid, the ideas, very painful ideas about how that was defined. My dad suffered under it pretty intensely, and he kind of, you pass on your confusions, and so I think it was something that I sought as a songwriter. I sought to define. In the end, it's all identity. Who am I? What am I doing here? And all your writing, from the first note to the last, is sort of in pursuit of some of those answers. And so that was a question that I dealt with a lot and often in my music, and with the intention of sorting it out for myself. And I also drew quite an audience of young men. When I started out, there was there's still a lot of I'd seen that, certainly initially I had an audience that was more guys than gals, which was not the original intention when the band was but whatever, And I think it was because I wrestled with those questions a lot, and hopefully help people sort through them a little better than they've been sorted through in the past. So,
Hi.
Okay, I can see
Okay,
it.
over here.
Am I warm?
All
All right.
Well, first of all,
I got you, yeah.
I just want to say thank you so much for your music. Really.
Thank
And second of all, I don't know if it's a rumor or if it's true, but are we going to see you at the Fleet Center in August? In Boston?
I can't emphasize on these issues. I can't really say. I'm sure we'll get back up here in some fashion or not.
Come back here.
Hi. I was just going to ask you if Rosie could start coming out again.
Yeah, I play that one once in a while. I kind of save it for special occasions.
Asbury Park.
Well, we played it in Asbury lately.
That's
I
right.
did play it there. I didn't play it in Philadelphia.
Nope.
But I pop that one out once in a while. But one of these days.
We really appreciate it.
Well,
Bruce.
okay, we got it.
Bruce.
Okay.
Over the years, we all, as fans, have been blessed by growing up with your music, a lot of us, and it's great to meet all the fans. And I was wondering if you, as a performer, ever wake up still awed by the impact you have, and if ever that's an overwhelming responsibility you feel you have to respond to. It's just, how do you feel as an artist, knowing
I
that
do
you
wake
reach
up
somebody?
all by myself quite often. Hey, I'm good, I mean, in the end, it's music, and you're the air guitar player. But I guess the power is just because it's the power of the storyteller, which is central in society, and I happen to be lucky enough to come out along the time when people pay the big bucks for that kind of thing. And so it's, but it really. I look at it, it's like an ongoing discussion and dialogue, and at some point, you step in every relationship you feel responsibility with, and I certainly feel one with my audience, and at the same time, it's my job and it's my work, and I don't try to get too crazy about it. I got a lot of other things to do now also. So, anybody else? We'll take a few more. What do I listen to today? Let me see. I do a lot of curiosity buying. This year there was a record called New Folk Underground by a guy named David Bearwald, who's made a lot of good records, and that was probably one of my favorite records that I've heard in a while. There was a group called Phantom Planet, young pop rock band that I dug. I like them a lot. Flaming Lips, they had a couple of good songs on the last record. I listen to a lot of things, and I just kind of find my way through it. And, yeah, it's good, right there. Yeah, they come once in a while, but it's pretty boring for them. I mean, let's face it, who really wants to see thousands of people applaud their parents? You don't want to see that if you're a kid. It's not like, oh, that's cool, You don't want to see it, So they come once in a while, and they run around and have a good time. But what kid really wants to see it? All right, you got it. Comments to say.
After all these years down the Jersey Shore, can you explain your connection to the Freehold and Asbury Park and to the South Side?
It's what I'm stuck with, It's the place where the connection to my home there. So it's what we're all stuck with, It's those places, as far as some more than others. I mean, I may know a few people who literally left and never went back and never thought of it again, but I don't know many, There's too many ghosts and too many bodies buried, and I think that. And also it's just that whole sense of place, that whole idea about. I was very interested in where I came from, and I'm not exactly sure why. I think I went back many, many times with the intent of trying to make right things that went wrong, trying to recreate a place that had only marginally existed, in real life, I suppose. And as I did that, I just kind of investigated it further and further and looked at it closer and closer, and it was something that I just couldn't get out of myself, the idea that I needed to make a home for myself somehow there, that was important to me. I couldn't exactly tell you why, but I know that it was, and I pursued it. very intensely, and also it was. I kind of believed in playing the cards you were dealt. I was from New Jersey, and I wanted to write about. Why would that you get a round of applause? I don't know. So it was just something that I felt connected to, and I've pursued since. You know.
Bruce.
Yes.
I'm up here in the back.
Okay.
I'm in the back. First off, thank you for tonight. This is something special.
Oh, my pleasure.
You write about people, but you write about politics. You write about people in social situations, and that's one of the things some of us love most about you. So I'd like to ask you a question about politics. It's not an easy question, but I think it's a question on a lot of people's minds right now. Bob McNamara, admitted that he made a horrible mistake. And I wanted to ask you if you thought that Donald Rumsfeld, with his Bob McNamara haircut, is about to make a horrible mistake.
I was talking to a friend earlier. He's taken on a bit of a strange loving tinge for me the last few months. But I think that I asked a lot about this for months because over in Europe we asked a lot about it. I guess I've read an awful lot about it, and it's amazing how confused I can get about it on any given day. But I got two sons, and I think, well, my sons were on the front line. What would I want? And I said, well, there's wars that you get thrust into, and I felt that's what happened in Afghanistan. And there seems to be wars of choice, and that for one reason or another, that seems to be the administration seems very determined to have this war. Personally, I'm not a diplomat, I'm not a policymaker, but I think diplomacy can be and also I think if my son was on the front lines, I want a policy of containment in some fashion. And that's in the end, that's the only place I've been able to kind of come down with it. I think when an artist, you value, because the individual is so important in your work, because that's the secrets you're chasing, and what's the essence of life, of living, I think if my kids were out there, I wouldn't want to be sending them into battle in this particular war at this particular time. Anybody else?
One of my favorite tunes off the new album is Into the Fire. And I was wondering if you could comment on some of the reaction you've gotten to that. In writing The Rising, did you feel an obligation to tell the story? How did The Rising get done?
It started at the telethon, and they asked me to be on it, and I was going to sing. So I wanted to write a song for it because I didn't know if I had one that felt right. And I wrote Into the Fire. I didn't get finished, and I didn't sing it. But no, you don't. I don't think I ever sit at a particular moment feeling I've got to write this kind of song or that kind of song. Or I don't feel. I don't really write from the outside in. It's not an external. The spark is generally. It's not. It doesn't really come from that way. I mean, you're affected by what goes on in the world, but ultimately you've got to suss it out internally. What it means for you, and like all of those songs on those records had to stand on their own, and they had to work independent of events. It's where the songs get their own integrity from. You could put The Rising, you could put it on Darkness on the Edge of Town, you could put Promised Land on The Rising, and yeah, in some ways, but it could be about many, many different things. The sky was falling and streaked with blood. and you disappeared into dust. Up the stairs, into the fire. I need your kiss, love and duty called you someplace high, somewhere up the stairs, into the fire. I think when I wrote it, may your strength give us strength, may your faith give us faith. It was just about spiritual feelings of community, sort of. Once again, it was kind of primarily, I read a lot of things that sort of have a religious foundation, and for me, it worked in that fashion also, besides being specific. A couple more, and I'm going home, folks.
I have a microphone back here.
Good for you. Go
ahead. I'm actually
in the middle.
I'm living in the greater Boston area, but I'm a Red Bank Catholic girl who grew up in that area, and I was fortunate enough to see you at places like Big Bands West and Carlton Theater, and I wonder if you ever wish that you could go back for a moment and play those small clubs without all the...
Well, I can, the idea that you can't do things that you once did is completely untrue. And, it's truly, there are certain things, there are certain places and things that the mall on Saturday night, but actually, the truth, even there, the bottom line, it's a lot of it has to do with just how you carry yourself and your own ideas about what you want to do, and so I play locally in the clubs somewhat regularly, actually, I play with some friends of mine. I still get a kick out of it. There's very little, you're not really restricted in the fashion. It's not all. I got an F on mine.
Bruce?
Yeah.
A question for you.
Lay it on.
When you do a live performance and you create the set list, and in the middle of the set you give it audible to the band, is that something that you try to fit in thematically, or is it just something that comes to you that you feel like playing?
Maybe things are going a little slow. I want to shake the band up. I want to shake the audience up. I want to shake myself up. Just got an idea and feel like playing something. The ability of the band to respond to those things is something we've worked on a lot over the years. Adds a lot of excitement to the show. You get out there, you don't know, it's like the best plan doesn't survive first contact with the audience. It's it just depends on a given night. It's a certain sort of keeps it spontaneous, keeps the guys from think they know too much about what's going to go on. So. But anyway, I'm going to play one more thing for you, which I guess this is one of my favorite songs too. And like I was saying, so I always tried to answer the questions when I worked through it was in those questions that I really felt feel like it kept me alive. So, any more questions? Hey there, mister, can you tell me what happened to seeds I saw? Can you give me a reason, sir, as to why they never grown? Yeah, they just blown around from town to town till they're back out on this field. Yeah, where they fall from my hand. Yeah, back in the dirt of this hard land. Well, me and my sister from Germantown, yeah, we did ride. Well, we made our beds, from the rock on on the mountainside. We've been blowing around from town to town. Yeah, looking for a place to land with a sunburst through the clouds to fall like a circle of fire, like a circle of fire down on this hard land. Now even the rain, it don't come around here no more. And the only sound at night's the wind slamming that back porch door. It just stood here like it wants to blow you down. It twisted and churning up the sand, leaving all them scarecrows lying face down in the dirt of this hard land. Yeah, from a building up on the hill, I can hear your tape deck blasting home on the range. I can see them barroom choppers sweeping low across the plains. And it's me and you, Frank, we're looking for lost cattle, our hooves twisted and churning up the sand. Yeah, we're riding in the whirlwind, searching for lost treasure, way down south of the Rio Grande. Right across the river in the moonlight, up onto the banks of this hard land. Well, hey Frank, won't you pack your bags, meet me tonight down at Liberty Home. Yeah, just one kiss from you, my brother, and we'll ride till we fall. We'll sleep in the fields, we'll sleep by the rivers. In the morning we'll make a plan. But if you can't make it, stay hard, stay hungry, stay alive if you can. And we made a dream of this hard land. And he was right. There wasn't very good. And I wrote this song, and I wrote another one, but I'm going to sing this one now. This one was pretty simple. And truly, I just busted out the old rhyming dictionary on this sucker. I didn't quit, man.